did Sung show up? You see,
Girl, your ribs was gone. Like, your spine was severed, pretty much. Your arms was crushed, snapped twigs, toothpicks, bro. And all you got on your mind, bro, is this dude. This shit's just like, Sung,
Oh my god,
Sung,
bro.
I know he's here. Girl, if you don't sit there and the first thing I would have done, right, after off the wake up, I'd have been, I'm alive. I'm alive. But no, first thing she wake up, Sung.
it's a bit sad knowing we're not gonna get our weekly dose of aura every Saturday now, but I really can't complain considering the amazing season we got. From each epic battle down to the emotional scenes and occasional comedy, this truly was an experience to watch every week.
See, I still can't believe people was upset about Jinwoo saving his mom. Like, what the there's something wrong with these fans, boy. I tell you what, it's like, it's the smooth brain, room temperature IQ.
Unfortunately, it is coming to an end, so I just want to say thanks for allowing me to share part of it with you. I really enjoyed seeing how much you all loved learning more about the story. Now, the finale does rearrange things quite a bit, and there's actually enough cut content to make 2 videos. So, while the anime might be done for now, you can at least experience a bit more solo leveling through one more video of mine.
You know what? Like, one of the homies, she got my hopes. She messed me up, dude. She told me that the show was gonna come back, June. No, she told me the show was gonna come back in July of this year, and I was like, oh shit! I was like, for real? And then she sent me the little flyer. It was like a little post on IG, and it had Crunchyroll on there, right? It had like the little Crunchyroll logo, and she's like, "This is from Crunchyroll's like actual site," and I was like, "Bro." Everybody in the comments is like calling Cap is fake and stuff like that, and she's like, "No, this is real." I went and looked it up, and I was like, "Dude, it don't come back till next year, bro. It don't come back till January next year." Got all my hopes up, bro.
Some novel exclusive content wrapping up Jeju Island with an aftermath that's surprisingly emotional.
Oh, remind me to go get my drink out the
Today
freezer
we'll
before it
focus on
blow up.
left out details from the scenes we did see, then next week we'll finish off the season with that. So, for now, here's exactly how Sung saved Cha, how he cheesed his way to level 100 while solo clearing the island, then how he set himself up to get poached by every country in the world. It's everything the anime left out from the manhwa and novel. But first, if you're looking to add some of that Sung Jinwoo aura to your room or office, now you can with today's sponsor, Displate. With their anime catalog growing bigger by the day, you can find all the officially licensed artwork from Solo Leveling and more, printed onto these sleek metal posters ready to hang wherever. You won't find quality like this anywhere else since the metal ensures high durability while the matte or gloss varnish makes the print of the art pop. I actually treated myself to a few of my own, and I gotta say I'm very impressed by the way they turned out.
Those are actually pretty
Plus,
clean.
with hanging them being as easy as peeling an adhesive then sticking it on with a magnet, you can rest easy knowing the process is hassle-free for you. So whether it's Sung Jinwoo and Frieren or something a bit more subtle, there's over 500 different anime artworks to choose from. Just click my link below to check out the full catalog, then be sure to use code AniNews at checkout to get 25% off. Buying 2 to 3 will get you 32% off, then 4 or more will get you 36%. But now, let's get back to the video.
You know, cause like this right here, I have this. This is, you know, clearly has no frame, but I got like 3M tape, you know, like on these corners. And then you kind of see it rip a little bit. And I put like some double-sided tape all around just so it sticks. Cause I figured, I was like, if I ever take this down, you know, and rip it up, I'll just repaint it. Don't worry about this, you know. Don't worry about that. I repaint that too. You know what I'm saying? Like with this whole thing, when I take that off.
Episode 25. On to the next target. Covering chapters 104 to 110 from the manhwa and chapters 121 to 133 from the novel. Let's start things off immediately post-fight with Beru, where Sung had just gained 2 levels from beating him, and his next priority after was to save the hunter dying in front of him. As much as he wanted to celebrate, there was no time to do so since Cha's vitality was quickly deteriorating. Now, There was no scene where he tried to use the elixir.
She already looked dead.
Her, but what he did do was consider every potential option available to him. He thought of teleporting with Cha or flying her out on Kaisel,
He had a
but both
cooldown.
were options that would take too long. He even considered trying to find a healer from another guild, but the odds of finding one skilled enough was very unlikely. This then led to the solution we saw in the anime, which at the moment Sung wasn't even sure would work. First, he had asked the cameraman to turn off his camera, which, unlike in the anime, had a bit more deliberation to it. Reason being that, for the cameraman, this wasn't a decision he could make just like that. I mean, yes, Sung was his savior and he felt indebted to him, but to turn off the camera was the
they didn't even
equivalent
show
of
that.
turning the feed off to every citizen in the entire country. So, knowing what would be lost if he did, the cameraman hesitated in a way that was very much apparent. It's for that reason Sung took the choice out of it and proceeded with the threat we saw in the anime. It's not like he wanted to scare the guy, but with time running out, there really wasn't any other choice here. Now, a major difference that makes this scene a lot more grim is that in the novel, Min's body had to be recovered by sifting through piles of ant corpses. There were so many littered around everywhere that recovering it wouldn't have been possible if not for Sung's highly attuned perception. In fact, when Sung was able to pinpoint where exactly it was underneath all the ants, only Beck understood just how amazing that was. Since the magic energy emission between humans and monsters was so minutely different, Sung's ability to distinguish Min's lingering aura should have been impossible, especially since it was actively dissipating. The fact
He said that his body was talking to him, wasn't it? He said like he knew, he was saying like his spirit was like, use me, bro. Use me to, save her, bro.
he was able to see it regardless though, well, that was a feat not even Beck's Eyes of the Beast could pull off. Sung's perception was now more refined than Beck's specialized traits specifically intended for jobs like these. In any case, Min's mangled body wasn't a sight a close friend like Beck wanted to look at, but he knew deep down he had to witness what was gonna happen next. Sung naturally had extraction.
Bro, did he not have a head?
Witness what was gonna sight a close friend.
Where his head at, bro? Oh, that's right. He ate his head.
What?
Pause. Bro, I forgot he did that. Damn.
Friend like Beck wanted to look at, but he knew deep down he had to witness what was gonna happen next. Sung naturally had extraction on his mind the moment the news of Min's death was confirmed, but pursuing it was never something he actually wanted. You see, he refused to turn an innocent soul into one of his undead soldiers. It didn't matter how powerful that person was. Defiling a hero in that manner was a level Sung knew he'd never stoop to. This, however, was a dire situation.
He's a good
so
fucking
if he
dude.
trust
He's
the
a good
life of
dude.
Charles,
He's a
the best
dude,
healer
man. He's
in
a
the
good
entire
dude.
country, then that was a
know.
decision he needn't think twice about. Had the call been up to
Hella
him
respect
himself,
on
then
that.
Sung knew he would have done the same as well. So it's here another major difference from the anime occurs, since in the novel Min's extraction failed once, while in the manhwa it actually failed twice. The manhwa explained this as Min's soul being strongly opposed to becoming a shadow, which was a point of morality contrasted by Iron's confusion. The novel gives a reason I personally think makes a bit more sense, since with the difference in power being the key determining factor of shadow extraction's success, the idea that a soul could oppose it kind of comes out of nowhere. How then does the novel explain it? Well, instead it chalks it up to a lack of motivation. Sung wasn't fully invested in turning Min into a shadow, so at the time of extraction it didn't work. He didn't want Min's shadow the same way he wanted the others, so it was that lack of determination that affected his success here. It was when he focused up for the second attempt that's when extraction worked just fine. So while this was quite different from Sung saying he heard Min's voice telling him to use his powers, I suppose that version aligns better with the well-rounded character they're trying to make Sung be. In any case.
What? Okay, they just kind of like adapted it in a way that makes him look like, even better. So I retract what I said. Like, his perception wasn't him seeing like his aura and stuff like that telling him to like be used. Like, he's like whispering in the back, like whispering under the body. He's like, I'm over here, son. Use me, bro. Use me. That never happened. He really just didn't even want to be a shadow. He didn't, bro. Byung was like, hey, I'm gone. Like, leave me alone, bro. And then Sung was like, nah, I need you, dog. I need you, bro.
It was when everyone saw what it was Sung was capable of that Sung would simply nod yes or no to their many questions. He saw zero need to explain anything more himself, but he also didn't see a reason to lie either. In a way, this transparency was like a load lifted off his shoulders. For the first time, this was a public place where he could just be himself. Of course, everyone else would form their own impressions anyway, each in awe and fear at what they were seeing. Beck, however, was privy to one more bit of information the others weren't, and that was that Sung could grow stronger. So, if this was the power he was showing now, then Beck couldn't even begin to imagine how much stronger he would get later. The cameraman now understood why it was Sung wanted the cameras off, since if this was how scared the top hunters in the country looked, then one could only imagine how much more terrifying such a revelation would be to a normal person.
Yeah, dude, like, that makes hella sense, too, because it's like, bro, if he can bring back anyone, bro, they gonna think like, okay, what if they do like another like little dungeon break and they think like, oh, Jinwoo could like betray me because he wants my ability, right? And he could just kill me and then just add me to his army, you know? Like, I bet other countries would probably think of him as a huge threat. Like, you know, if they sent Sung out there to go like be an assassin, right? Because he does have like an assassin build. They already assumed of him to be an assassin like type mage, you know? And he could just go out there, pick people off one at a time and just add them, you know, to his little board. You know what I'm saying? Like, he literally has an army. He's got, you know, oh my god, dude, like they're probably scared. Like, bro, he's already national level, so it's like shit.
In the novel, Sung would dismiss Min's shadow without being asked, while in the manhwa, Beck's plea almost came off as begging. It was a very heartfelt request for the person who was once his close friend. This brings us now to the post-raid cleanup, where Sung would go on this whole extra side mission. With ants fleeing the tunnels out of fear towards the shadow soldiers, they were effectively running to anywhere that wasn't here. So Sung would first accompany the hunters to the helicopter, clear a path for them with Kaisel before takeoff, then stay behind to clear the island in its entirety. As insane as it was to do so, Beck could only smirk knowing you need a monster to fight monsters. So, Sung would start hunting ants in the slowest way imaginable, riding on Kaisel's back while using dagger throw to eliminate them one by one. He was being extremely diligent also he could reach level 100. Since he hadn't booked any gates for the foreseeable future, Sung knew this would be his only chance to gain XP for a while. He did consider the lucky instance of a potential dungeon break, but that was something Sung realized he probably shouldn't hope for. With the dungeon break being a direct result of one or more raid teams failing, to consider them a good thing was insensitive to those who died for it to happen. The other reason he was farming XP was because he wanted to make sure he was the highest level possible before trying to extract Beru. Failing Mins reminded him of the dreadful feeling that came when extracting Baraka, so in order to give himself the best chances possible, Sung decided he would raise his levels first by any means necessary. So, surveying the island would eventually lead him to the place where the Japanese hunters were killed, revealing multiple bodies filled with extremely powerful magical energy. A more familiar
He didn't take him, did he?
He sensed nearby, but no matter how hard Sung looked, he couldn't find the source's body anywhere. Eventually, he'd realized that there was no body left. With only pools of blood emanating this magic, Sung could tell Goto had been devoured completely. Not a single trace of him was left to try and perform an extraction on. We don't know if that's actually what he wanted to do here, but he did find the death of Japan's strongest utterly meaningless. Fast forward to when every ant on the island was dead, and Sung would feel disappointed since he hadn't yet leveled up to 100. He would reluctantly proceed into the tunnel to extract Beru regardless, only to pick up on the presence of other monsters. What he sensed was the countless eggs within the nursery, faint magic signals exhibiting almost fully matured ants within. What happened next was by definition a spawn-killing XP farm, but with every single ant possessing these evolutionary wings, Sung knew he had gotten here just in time. Had these ants hatched and joined the ranks of the Ant Queen's army, then the assault on Japan and Korea would have been devastating. Now, The subsequent extermination was pretty much the same, but a quick note to note about the Demon King's longsword is that Sung couldn't replicate the same stun effect that the Demon King used. It seems that was an ability specific to him. But anyway, in the end, Sung would reach level 100 from these eggs. His next order of business was to extract Beru, and since he knew from Min concentration played a role in its success, Sung gave himself a moment to focus. It was when the darkness fully enveloped him that not a single thing could be perceived from within it. If there was even a single trace of light, then with his high perception, Sung would have been able to detect something. With not even that allowed though, Sung could literally see nothing. He was truly cut off from everything around him. What came after was a jump scare that frightened even him, since the moment the darkness had lapsed, there Beru was standing right in front of him. Sung didn't get to see how his shadow came to be, but there it was, making him think he somehow came back to life. It was so surprising that Sung almost lashed out on reflex.
He's about to kill his own shadow.
Compared to the anime, so I think I appreciate the epic highlight they gave Beru here more.
Yeah.
In any case, it was right as Sung was about to summon the queen next.
They gave
that's
Beru
when
some
would
aura.
start talking. Sung would then ask how it was he was able to do so, and Beru would respond simply with, "He always could." It was an answer that made Sung assume he was referring to how he could speak before, but that contradicted with the shadows of Iron, Tusk, and Min. That being the case, the only conclusion left was that this had to do with Beru's rank. If the general rank was what made him capable of speaking, then Sung assumed his other shadows would eventually get to start talking too. It was yet another reason to keep leveling them up. Now, if you're wondering how Beru's name came to be, well,
no, I thought he was like still alive. Like I thought he wasn't dead, you know? Like he said his body was still like creating like, you know, magic, you know, like maybe his heart rate was like less than 1 beat an hour or some shit, you know, like that. I'm confused, bro. But if you saying that he can talk because of his general rank, Eagre's gonna be able to talk then. Eagre's gonna make it there. I'm ready to hear Eagre's voice.
Sung knew it wouldn't make sense to call him ant or insect, so he instead thought back to a book he read. The title of it was The Ants, and the author went by the name Bernard Weber. If you pronounce Bernard the way it is in Korean, then that's how you get the long-form version of the name Beru is named after. It was after that Sung would extract the shadow of the queen, which, while also as strong as the general rank, went to weaken Sung's own bond with his existing ants.
Wait, what?
It was after that, and that's how you get the long-form version of the name Beru is named after. It was after that Sung would extract the shadow of the queen, which, while also as strong as the general rank, went to weaken Sung's own bond with his existing ants. When Sung asked Beru why this was happening, he explained it was because the queen's inherent power directly conflicted with his own. You see, she had an innate command over the ants that went to trump Sung's. So long as she was alive, any orders Sung wanted to give to the ants would unfortunately have to go through her first. It was a tedious thought that ultimately led him to dismiss her. The other reason was how incredibly weak she was compared to back when she was alive, which Beru explained was a product of her losing her physical body. Since most of her magic energy was used for reproduction, the fact she was no longer capable of it meant she lost all the magic energy required to make it happen. The queen was never a monster suited for the battlefield, and her status as a shadow pretty much confirmed that. In the meantime, Sung's other shadows would be collecting mana stones, but with those intended as compensation for victims and funds for Jeju Island's reconstruction, Sung had ordered them to be left behind. He felt it wrong to keep any for himself. Plus, with Beru's pitch black shard seeming valuable all on its own, Sung figured that was more than enough compensation. In the end, he would be left with that and a total of 570 out of 570 shadows stored. So, that's pretty much it for the raid in the novel, but in the
this fool used to have like 130, bro. Damn, this man got near 600. Oh my god. Oh shit. I'm still waking up, bro. We started an early stream.
Beru would still proceed to help with cleanup off the island. He would reveal the ants could no longer fight together, making them this disorganized force akin to pests. Sung's request after wouldn't just be to thin out their numbers, it was actually to take out all of them. And while yes, Beru did help the best he could, The complete subjugation effort ended up lasting 2 days total. The ranks of all 5 major guilds were spread across the coast, catching any ants they possibly could.
Oh, hold up.
We saw also off the coast of China, who, due to their unpredictable arrival, had left the defense force awake for 2 days straight. It's here we meet the national level hunter Goto always said he was equal to, followed by a clear display of why he was not. For the Korean team that left before Sung, by the time they arrived back home, Chairman Go was right there waiting for him. The last thing he heard was of Cha's dire status, so immediately he found 2 A-rank healers and had them waiting on standby. What those healers found was absolutely nothing, so in the end their efforts weren't needed at all. As far as they could tell, whoever healed her before them had left her spotless. It was for a brief moment that Cha would then wake up here, only to ask the simple question, did Sung show up? Is he...
Girl! Your ribs was gone, like your spine was severed, pretty much. Your arms was crushed, snapped twigs, toothpicks, bro. And all you got on your mind, bro, is this dude. This shit's just like, Sung,
oh my god,
Sung,
bro.
Oh,
I
hell
know he's
no.
here. Girl, if you don't sit there and the first thing I would have done, right, after off the wake up, I'd have been, I'm alive. I'm alive. But no, first thing she wake up, Sung. Yo, that's crazy, dude. That's like some Sakura and like Sasuke type of delusional right there.
She clearly recognized that Sung's scent was on her, and as a result,
It's always the scent, bro. It's always the scent. Like, that's crazy. The scent.
wanted to confirm whether what she felt while unconscious was a dream or not. As soon as the team confirmed that it was Sung who saved her, Cha would immediately fall back to sleep again.
This girl.
This brings us now to the aftermath with Japan, where
This
the
girl,
loss of
bro.
10 S ranks left Matsumoto spiraling.
I thought he was
All 20
crying.
were sent to Jeju Island in the novel, and only half returned after. Had the Korean hunters been killed alongside their own, then there was a chance the situation could have been salvaged. It's because they weren't, though, that what was happening now could only be described as a disaster. Now the only thing Matsumoto could think about was the conversation he had
That nigga
before
mad.
Goto had expressed a potential hiccup requiring modifications to the plan, but that was advice Matsumoto decided to ignore. That being the case, now he couldn't help but ask himself why he chose to do that. I mean, Goto was the one who understood the power of hunters best, so to dismiss his first ever assessment that a Korean hunter was incredible, well, that's where Matsumoto knew he messed up. There was
Dumbass.
arrogance that went to cost him dearly.
That's what you
If
get.
they had just analyzed Sung's powers properly beforehand, then he and Japan would have just cooperated in good faith from the get-go. It pained him to know this whole thing could have been avoided entirely.
See? You see that? You could go from the early stages of snaking and taking advantage of people, but watch. It only take one time for you to try to snake somebody when you're at the top of your game, like he is, right? He's at the top of his career, you know what I'm saying? In this chairman, right? For Japan, he at the top of his career. He probably been snaking niggas his whole life. And then he finally picked the one. The one is fuck around and find out. He tried to snake one and he fucked around and found out.
So, that's when Matsumoto would determine one single way to salvage this, and that was to recruit Sung himself. If there was any person
ain't
who
happening.
could revitalize the Japanese Hunter Association,
He ain't-
Matsumoto knew it was him.
He ain't
just
trying to
needed
deal with
figure
you.
out the best way to do so. It's after this that we get
All
into
Might.
quite a bit of side stuff regarding the
All Might.
Americans.
All Might.
That's content we'll for sure be seeing in Season 3. If we skip past all that, next we'll find quite a bit of novel exclusive scenes wrapping up Jeju Island and its aftermath. It's all the loose ends tied up nicely, ending things on an emotional note I personally didn't expect myself. To continue on past even that, now we have the operation on Jeju Island with the Knights Guild.
Oh, they about to explain this real
The
quick.
mission to retrieve Min's bodies.
I have a theory again that them fools that popped up at the end, right? When Sung's dad was in the caves as well. Those other two. Those are not primordials, but you get what I'm trying to say, right? They're oh my god. Baran. They're like Baran. Like demon lords, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, what's the word? Somebody in chat, somebody write down what the word is I'm trying to say. But don't spoil it. You know what I'm trying to say, but just say that. The name, you know what I'm saying? Like the elites, you know?
Since it was too hectic to extract with it during the raid. Now that Sung had cleared all the ants though, the chairman ordered an immediate recovery of it. It was a mission Jong-soo readily volunteered for since with his guild being the only top 5-1 not to participate in the raid, this was his only chance to save their diminishing reputation. It's here in the manhwa Jong-soo decides to give his life story, speaking of how before becoming a hunter he was an incredible athlete. His entire life he trained to go to the Olympics, then literally the day before he awakened as a hunter. This put his goal out of reach forever, leaving that last obstacle never to be overcome. This, however, wasn't enough to make Jong-soo give up, since now he was set on making the best guild in Korea. It was a goal he was still pretty far away from, but in a funny scene here, he felt that with these mana crystals he might be able to. It was just a joke about embezzling funds from the government. Now, there were numerous military soldiers present as well, and in the novel that made for quite the tense situation. Reason being that they knew if a monster showed up, they were effectively helpless. It's for that reason they couldn't take it easy the same way Jong-soo and his hunters did. So, it was the closer this recovery team got to the tunnel that the more bodies of ants they would start to notice. Eventually, they would start to see literal mountains, each of which spoke volumes to Sung's power. As hunters who partook in the previous raid, they knew how difficult it was to kill just one of these ants. So, one could only wonder how Sung managed to kill all of these solo. Now, part of the reason why a person
these dudes
was so unexpected was because news of the island's clearing should have been top secret. There was a chance certain enterprises would swoop in to claim these magic crystals given the opportunity, so Chairman Go took measures to prevent that. This led the soldiers to take the lead here, since with this person seemingly not a monster or anything related to the raid, the decision on what to do with him fell on them. Their orders were to take control of the situation on the island, so this mysterious person was part of that. It's for that reason Jong-soo would stand aside and let the soldiers do their job, resulting in a tense standoff where neither side could do anything. The mysterious person clearly didn't understand any of the orders the soldiers were giving him, and the soldiers weren't so relaxed as to not open fire. It was once this mysterious person started speaking, though, that two terrifying revelations were made one after the other.
Wasn't speaking English, wasn't speaking
a recognizable language from any country on Earth, and the second was that it was a monster. It was the moment such a fact was made clear that a single shot was fired from one of the soldiers. The way it bounced off his head confirmed this wasn't a human, and that was when everyone present knew they were in trouble. Anime Craven here was actually about to make a move himself, up until the elf stepped in first. The ensuing conversation was just as vague as we saw in the anime, leaving not much else to be said aside from this. The beast guy wasn't referring to the smell in general here, he was actually talking about the ants specifically. Whatever woman he believed was going to get triggered by it, he was referring to the sight of the mangled ant corpses, not just some terrible stench. Anime Craven also believed the elf leaving to be cowardice, so that changes the context behind how we perceived their presence here.
Yeah.
It makes it seem
they
like
didn't
the elf
seem
was
too much as
avoiding
comrades, you know what I'm
the
saying?
beast guy wanted to take
That
care
wasn't
of whoever
comrades.
them was, but that was something the elf seemed far too cautious to. But yeah, that's pretty much it for everything on the island, so I think here's a good place to stop. The rest of the scenes off-island become a bit convoluted since there's a lot of back and forth with Sung, the Association, America, and the funeral. All the scenes with America will be in Season 3, but everything else for sure is content they left out. So expect all that in the video next week. I do hope that you enjoyed this one, and if you did, then leave a like and consider subscribing. Also,
always good videos from AniNews, bro.
The quality of their posters really are amazing, so if you're looking for a vibrant wall piece, this is certainly the place to get it. But anyway, until next time.
I still can't see my stream, bro. Ciao. Ciao. Ciao.